Welcome to Eclectic Soundtrax Podcast. Our guest on this episode is Xero Silver, the front ghoul of None More Negative, a Typo negative tribute band out of the Bay Area. A longtime fan of goth and industrial acts such as Ministry, Skinny Puppy, The Cure, Susie and the Banshees, and others, it was only a matter of time before Xero discovered Typo negative and fell in love with the slow, deep, and hard, infectious grooves of one of the greatest bands ever. She even got her moniker from the band's keyboardist and engineer, Josh Silver. And as fate would have it, when Xero went to audition for a backup vocalist position, and the band's singer did not show, Xero became the lead vocalist for None More Negative, a self-proclaimed terrible tribute band who clearly gets the brand and does Typo justice. Check out their videos on YouTube like All Hallows Eve, directed by Mike Sloat, and their latest, Creepy Green Light. We had a blast chatting about the bands we love and some we don't. And like any good ghoul, Xero was not afraid to state her opinions. Make sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we'd also like to thank our friends at Godan Guitars, Tragan Guitars, Ernie Ball Strings, and 5 Iron Woodworks. Okay, let's see what this goyle has to say. Welcome back, Eclectic Soundtrax. Skunk Manhattan, Victor Ramos, being weird. Here with, speaking of weird, Xero Silver. What's going on, weirdo?
Hey.
How are you?
Fabulous. Thank you for having me.
Our pleasure. And I'm just assuming you're a weirdo because you live in the Bay Area, and us Texans think everyone who lives in San Francisco is a weirdo. Am I correct?
You really haven't, noticed this from being my Facebook friend?
I have made that observation. You had a very interesting. I'm wearing a Typo negative shirt.
Beautiful.
Because you are the front woman for a Typo negative tribute band called None More Negative. Did I get that right?
It's true. I prefer front ghoul, though.
Oh, front ghoul, right.
Yes.
And you guys put out a video and it was killer. That was really awesome. What song was that?
Thank you so much. That was Creepy Green Light.
Yeah.
That was our second video. Have you seen our first one?
Oh, maybe
All Hallows Eve?
Maybe I didn't see that one because I think that was the most recent one.
In October of 2018, and that was professionally filmed by Mike Sloat, who does a lot of bigger Bay Area bands. So this was our first video that we did ourselves, and we're very proud of how it turned out.
Yeah, it's awesome. I got to check out that other one. So, Creepy Green Light, what album is that on? Because I know Typo pretty well, but I don't know their later albums as well.
World Coming Down, 1999.
That's the shirt I think I'm actually wearing, so I should know that.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I love about that album? I love the Beatles medley they end that record with. Isn't that awesome?
So good. Yeah, we've been wanting to do that for a while.
No.
We've been wanting to do every song, and we will eventually.
Now, have you played... So when did the band form?
The band formed, I believe, sometime around mid-2017, and I joined in December of that year.
Was there a singer prior to you?
There was, and he was supposed to be at the practice where I was auditioning as backup vocalist.
Oh, wow.
And he wasn't. I can't remember the reason, but I didn't find out until I arrived that he wasn't going to be there. So they just threw me on lead vocals, and we just all magically gelled. And
that's amazing.
Yeah, the dude, he ended up moving out of the Bay Area. We never heard from him again. I don't think anybody was in touch with him anymore, but it's pretty magical. It was meant to be. Yeah,
and it's so cool. I mean, just the fact that I think that you're a female makes it cooler, you know? And I remember, I think when I met you, so how we met was in, what year was that? I went and saw Dead Cross. When did Dead Cross tour? Was that 2018? Or no, it was 2017. Wow. No, because that was when they came back and played after the tour. Might have been 2018. I think it was May of 2018.
I was going to say 2019, but I really have no concept.
No, I actually remember very well now. It was May of 2018, and you were standing there wearing I think you were wearing a Typo negative shirt. And I was just like, cool shirt. And you're like, oh, thanks, blah, blah. And I know, everyone on the podcast, Vic's like, how did you meet? I'm like, oh, someone was wearing a cool shirt. We started talking, and you were my introduction to Eric Livingston. You guys are friends, and
yes.
you were in a Dead Cross video, right?
I was.
What song was that one?
That was My Perfect Prisoner.
All right, okay. Yeah. You ever met any of those guys, the Dead Cross guys?
No, I'm such a big Mike Patton fan. I was like hoping that being in that video, and then I was also in the one chanson.
Oh
d'amour.
yeah, that video is awesome. We had Eric on the podcast. We were talking about that video.
He was talking about that one.
Kick-ass video. I didn't realize he had done that. Yeah, really cool.
Yeah, but unfortunately didn't get to meet him. Maybe someday.
Well, I have some heartbreaking news for you. Mike Patton's actually in love with my brother.
In love with your brother?
Yeah, he fondled him on stage when Dead Cross played in Berkeley.
Oh, wow.
You didn't happen to be at that show, did you? When they played Berkeley?
No, I was supposed to be there.
Oh, my God. So, yeah, he called my brother up on stage, accusing him of looking like Ryan Gosling, which my brother looks nothing like Ryan Gosling, by the way. And then wanted to see his penis and tried to get him to pull his pants off and then fondled his balls when they started playing a song. So I remember my brother texted me and he was like, I don't know how to feel. Like, I just like got on stage with Dead Cross and Mike Patton fondled me. And I'm like, what? No, fuck off. And then there was a YouTube video and I was like, oh my God. So
was he not a massive Mike Patton fan?
He's a huge, we're both huge Mike Patton fans. He's a huge Mike Patton fan. I think he's just a little worried these days.
Did he just feel a little violated?
Yeah, and there's like a backstage, I think he ran into him backstage or something. There's like a photo of him and everything, but I know that they inhabit, my brother and his wife are out in San Francisco as well, so I think he's just waiting for the day that Mike Patton wanders into the same restaurant and there's an awkwardness between them. He doesn't remember that shit. I'm sure. Mike Patton's so crazy. He's fucking done God knows at every show. So I thought it was really funny on that tour because the shows leading up to that, like they played Austin like a week before that, and then there was a show or two after that where they had to have a kid on stage. And they when I saw him in Austin, like they had this kid on stage and they had the little earmuffs on and he was rocking out. And it was super cool. And Mike Patton's being the sweet, guy with the kid. And then lo and behold, a week later, he's fondling, someone's junk. But anyway, so speaking of films, so you've been in videos with that Eric Livingston did.
Yes.
And you just had like God, what was it called? The vampires from something or other from
Vampire Mermaid from Outer Space.
What's up with that? That was quite a little film there.
Yeah.
I like the way you killed someone with a fart. That was fun.
Yeah, it's my favorite part.
Is this a music video or what is this?
No, it's like a short film.
This is a short film.
Oh, it's a short film.
It's about
Okay.
17 minutes. It's on YouTube. It was a film project started by my friends who lived in New York at the time. They were from the Bay Area, but we had kept in touch, and they just randomly messaged me and were like, hey, do you want to make a movie on mushrooms? And I was like, okay, like, tell me more about it. Like, what do you have in mind? And turns out they had no idea whatsoever what they wanted to do. They just knew they wanted to make a movie on mushrooms. And they came to the Bay Area for, I don't know, a couple weeks. And we met up to discuss ideas, and it just came out of like a random, like, casual conversation about the main filmmaker dude's experience in high school, as he was supposed to be the valedictorian of his class, but then this fucking bitch stole his title just because, like, she had been through some, like, traumatizing event. And so then we were like, what was she, like, gangbanged by aliens or something? Wait a second, there's our idea. So, yeah.
I love how ideas come up like that.
I know, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now,
what's the name of this again? I heard
Vampire
vampires.
Mermaid from Outer Space. And
Okay.
it has an all-original black metal surf soundtrack created by one of the actors. Russian Paul is his name.
so are you saying that
Black metal surf.
you were on?
New genre.
Was everyone on shrooms when you made it?
Everyone was on
Wow.
mushrooms. Yeah, it was really frustrating.
Damn. Like what? Frustrating? Like how? Like really hard for people to focus?
It was really hard for me to, first of all, like, I just felt really self-conscious, and like, yeah, when the mushrooms were first coming on, it just, like, it was honestly a lot stronger than I had intended for, like, I just ate one big mushroom, but I have a really, really low tolerance, and sometimes I just don't realize how low it is until it's too late. And it was like, it would have been a fine trip if I weren't like trying to make a movie, but like it just made things so confusing, at least at first, like when it was coming on. And like I felt like the director was not the best at giving directions. I love him to death, and like, I mean, of course we ended up with a masterpiece, so I'm not complaining. But
to be fair, he was on shrooms.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't blame him at all. But yeah, that's how it went.
Wow. What an interesting that's it suddenly all makes more sense too. Like, oh, okay, they were on shrooms.
I wonder how the editing went on that.
The editing really should have been done on mushrooms as well, but yeah. I think we're just naturally kind of on drugs all the time, so it worked out.
Now, one thing that caught me right away was I was like, whoa, how is this even like on Facebook? Because you premiered it. There's this dude just sitting there like in a gas mask with his junk hanging out.
Yeah, I don't know how it escaped the censors.
I was like, holy shit. Eric Livingston did a video. I mean, granted, like it's different if you advertise it. I'm able to put it up, but I tried to actually advertise it, and it was denied by Facebook and Google. And I had never even noticed when he had sent the initial video, and it was, one of them was like shocking content, and the other one was like nudity, and I was like, what the fuck? It's an animated video with like a 2-second clip of like a cartoon penis that's not even like in the focal point. It's just a naked guy, and I'm like, oh my god. But,
so silly. Yeah.
I mean, now I know. Next time I'll just do the video on shrooms and it'll be okay.
Yeah.
Shroom penis is cool.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Have you done a lot of films, or was that kind of a new experience?
I've done a fair amount. I kind of like, that was like one of my pastimes in high school, because I just happened to have a really good friend who was a genius filmmaker. And so like what we did for fun on like any random day was like make stupid little movies. And we ended up making like a pretty serious, almost full length. It was like 45 minutes when I was 16. Wow. So that was really an awesome experience. Since then, have I done any other movies? I don't think so. I think, I did like a couple more with him, like when I was like 18. None as big as that one when I was 16. But I have done like a few more music videos. And like some random like shows. Yeah.
All like Bay Area stuff. Are you from the Bay Area originally?
I am, yeah.
And tell us again where you're from and that, what's it called?
Well, I'm from San Francisco, but I live in San Mateo currently.
Oh. Any reason like for the trek 25 miles away or whatever? Cheaper?
I couldn't handle living in San Francisco just because I'm just not a city person. Like it's just too stressful, too fast paced. Like, I like being able to take walks outside at like 10, 11 at night and like see stars and like have things be dead quiet. Oh, I love that so much. Mm-hmm. But I love visiting the city, and it's nice to be not so far.
I always think of the Dirty Harry movies when I think about San Francisco.
I've never seen them.
Or that South Park episode.
Basic Instinct was in San Francisco. Remember that movie?
Oh, that's right. It was. I Married an Axe Murderer was in San Francisco.
Oh man, I haven't seen any of these.
I haven't seen. I haven't. I've only the only one I.
That's a Mike Myers movie, right? And he's got it's one of those where I think he first started playing different characters before the Austin Powers movies.
And then continued to play the same characters through all the other movies.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, it's like he plays his dad
like
in that
Scottish
movie.
guy or something.
Yeah, and it's exactly the same voice, but it's pretty hilarious. Gosh. Oh, there's a Chevy Chase movie that's in San Francisco. What was it called? It's
Everybody knows Miss Doubtfire. That was in San Francisco.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, yeah. I totally forgot about
Actually,
that.
I used to trick or treat at Robin Williams' house when I was little.
What?
He never came out. It was always his like servant handing out candy.
Wow.
I didn't know he lived out there. Wow.
He had a house there. I'm not sure if it was his full-time house.
Yeah, it's like being from here. I'm always kind of like thinking of or you know, when you're a kid, it's like L.A. right? Everything's L.A. and Hollywood, and then New York. But you know, San Francisco's got things going on. And you know about the history and the culture, but you don't think of it as much about movies and stuff. But yeah, especially since I've been there, and like you understand the dynamics of the town and the landscape, it's very recognizable when you see it for sure. It's an interesting city. It's different. I finally got there for the first time. Well, that time that literally the day I met you at that Dead Cross show was the first time I'd ever been in San Francisco that night.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And,
I haven't been there in years. You've probably been there more recently than I have.
We watched that show and then roamed around the Tenderloin. And my brother was like, yeah, this is like not the best thing to do right now, but so hopefully you won't get murdered on your first night in San Francisco. So what about music? Now you sing, do you play any instruments?
Sadly, no. I really tried hard to learn guitar for a while, but my hands are really small and like contorting my hand into all those shapes to get those chords, like it hurt my wrist so bad, and I like really tried to see if it was just like my wrist positioning or whatever. I tried like a smaller guitar. It just didn't work out for me, but yeah, so I'm useless otherwise.
How long have you been singing?
I've been singing my whole life. I started like getting more serious about it like around age 12. I would like try and emulate my favorite singers, and I would like spend a lot of time like recording myself singing and just try and get better on my own. And then later, like in college and beyond, I took a few lessons here and there when I could afford it, but never, for a long period or anything. And I joined my first band when I was 29. It was another cover band. It was like 70s through 90s hard rock. And we played like gigs around the Bay Area in little hole-in-the-wall bars, but it was super fun. It was like 4-hour gigs, like till 1 a.m. It was crazy.
What are some of the hole-in-the-wall bars? I'm curious.
Oh, you probably don't know.
No,
that.
I totally don't. Are they even still there? Do you know?
Gosh, no, but yeah, I don't know.
I played at one place that was cool, and I can't remember what it was called now.
Well, one of the places we played very regularly was Mardi Gras in Redwood City. We played, the rest of them I probably don't even remember the names because they were in like random spots in the East Bay that I wasn't familiar with.
What's that one bar in San Francisco that's kind of like on the corner of that street?
What?
I wish I could remember the one place I played. It was cool. But
yeah, that one. That one place.
Was it Hotel Utah?
Yes.
Hey!
It was. Holy shit! How about the first time in history someone said that, and then Xero just comes out with like, "Oh, Hotel Utah, that's the place."
I just read your mind. It's talent.
It closed down though, right?
Oh, did
I
it?
hope not.
Oh.
I think it did, but I know they were like changing management, or the dude that booked there. I want to say his name was Keith. I can't remember, but super cool guy. And the woman that ran sound, everyone was like super cool. We had a blast. And then I kind of got back with him. And he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm transitioning somewhere, some other job or whatever." And so took. And then the pandemic happened, so I don't know if they made it or not. But yeah, I really liked that place. But I was lucky enough to go to is it Slim's before they closed?
Oh,
and unfortunately,
R.I.P.
I know.
Yeah,
such
that
a
was
bummer.
an amazing venue.
Well, So who were some of your influences vocally early on?
Mariah, Gwen.
I love this Typo Negative singer, Mariah Carey.
Yeah, I've always had very diverse taste in music.
She's an amazing singer.
Oh, yeah. Who else did I love? Yeah, I listened to a lot of R&B. Also some like black metal. Like I would say Danny Filth was a big influence on me. I never like learned how to sing black metal properly, but that was always a dream of mine. I can scream really well. Like I can do a really good blood curdling scream, but I've never really tried like singing like that. Like I just don't know how to do it without fucking up my voice.
Right, to do a whole set in that style without just destroying yourself. Do you know the band Behemoth? I don't know a lot of black metal bands, but I saw Behemoth and they were so...
A little bit. I know of them.
They were so good live. Yeah, they were awesome.
Cool.
Just satanic as fuck.
How are those green beans?
Really good. Sorry, this is rude. But since they're green and we're honoring Peter Steele, the Green Man,
works.
I feel like it's
fitting.
Instead of doing a toast, I'm going to do a green bean offering. Do you have a favorite Typo Negative album?
Yes. It's also happens to be my number one favorite album of all time.
Okay, don't tell me.
Okay.
I wonder if you could give a hint that might not necessarily... Was it an older or a newer one?
Older.
It's not... Is it Bloody Kisses?
No.
Is it not Origin of the Feces? It really?
Yeah.
Oh, that one? No shit? Wow.
Yes.
Hey, Peter. Oh, dude, you got to hear that. Or Hey, Pete, right? Mm-hmm. There's that... Typo Negative does a cover of Hey, Joe, but it's called Hey, Pete. Where are you going with that axe in your hand? Is that the only cover on that song? I'm trying to think. Is that like demos or was that before or after Slow, Deep, and Hard? I love Slow, Deep, and Hard. That's a badass album.
Origin came after.
Okay.
Right after. Yeah.
There was still...
Because it's the same songs from that album.
Is it live?
Just done live.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And then a cover. Maybe I can't remember what else on there, but it's actually the only Typo Negative album I don't have.
Really?
Yeah. And then but they were still kind of coming off the Carnivore thing back then too, right? And so that's what
I love.
That's what people don't like. That's what's so great about Typo Negative. I think Typo Negative has this like amazing mix of, when Black Number One became this big hit and they kind of got labeled as like goth, which is an inappropriate label. I mean, there's those gothy elements and they kind of did that in a satirical way. I love the satire of the band, right? And I think all their fans just love the satire of it all. And then but there was this great just punk rock metal side to Typo, and like with that whole thing wrapped in it to like kill all the white people and shit like that, which kind of was coming from the Carnivore days. But then also, speaking of all these the older 70s, they what in the Beatles medley they did, every time I ever saw Typo Negative live, they always did covers of old classic rock songs, Pink Floyd, CCR, Doors, and I just loved that, Black Sabbath. And you could just tell, in their covers, right? They had Neil Young and fucking Seals and Crofts, and it's just like, but they always put their own stamp on it and did their thing with it. And I just love that blend of, I just think they were such a unique band,
Oh, yeah.
Vic's like, okay. I don't know how much the casual listeners probably heard Black Number One, right? And maybe something off October Rust or,
I think the first thing I heard from him was off the, the Bloody Kisses album. Mm-hmm. Right. So, I mean, what was that? 93. I was looking at the discography.
Yeah. 93.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, there's just in that time period, there's just a ton of stuff.
So much good stuff. And that's when they kind of popped right there. I remember seeing them open for Ozzy. I had no idea who they were. And then, I was just like, this is an interesting band. This whole dude, it's all green. And they played Black Number One and it was just super catchy. And I was like, this is pretty cool. And then me and my friends in San Antonio, we took a trip down to the beach that summer, right? Like a family thing. We were still teenagers, I guess. And which is all we did was listen to Typo Negative. I remember listening to Bloody Kiss. 4 super tall dudes that everybody thought were basketball players. Like when we got to our condo, and but we're like 4 tall dudes in a 2-door Ford Probe, listening to Typo Negative the whole weekend.
Nice.
I don't think I ever got to see them. I mean, I saw a lot of bands when I was up in Seattle, but no, I don't think I ever did get to see Typo.
And
There's a lot of bands that came through that canceled. You know, you mentioned that, like Guns N' Roses, Alice in Chains, and was it Metallica or something, right? I think they toured together, but they canceled.
Typo?
Axl or something.
Yeah, Typo. The last time I was going to see them, at White Rabbit actually, dude. I think I did see them there at the World Coming Down tour, but there was one time they had to cancel too because Peter was just in bad health or run down or whatever. And we actually, it was Josh and Johnny or two of the guys were hanging, Kenny, who knows, were hanging out by the bus, and they were like, "Yeah, Peter just can't play tonight." I mean, they actually showed up and they just couldn't do the show.
Oh, wow.
But I saw them in L.A. I saw them in Houston. I saw them at least 4 times. Did you see them many times live? Ever? Never? Oh, no. Terrible. Sorry.
I just got into them in like 2017. That's when I discovered them.
Oh, wow.
Or at least when I thought I discovered them. It's so bizarre. In 2018, I was like going through my old teenage diaries because I kept them all, and I like to go through them every now and again because I'm very nostalgic. And I came across this entry talking about how my mom prevented me from going to a Typo Negative concert.
Uh-oh.
And I had no recollection of like knowing this band at all. Like, I thought that I had just discovered them. So I feel like that was like maybe a traumatic memory that I blocked out or something. But yeah, it's really strange.
It might have just been your mom trying to keep you away from some boy or something.
Probably. I mean, she was very overprotective in general. I was constantly grounded. Yeah. But, yeah, it's just one more reason to hate her.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
But you know what? I did get out to New York City. It was my first time anywhere on the East Coast, all to see Silvertomb, the current band of Kenny and Johnny.
Nice.
And, oh, that was everything. Like, Silvertomb is my favorite living band, for sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now here's a question. So, as I Google Silvertomb, incorrect. Silver Mountain, Colorado. Nope, that's not.
Have you never heard them?
No, shamefully.
Oh, wow.
I know. It's embarrassing.
I highly recommend them. They're very, like, 90s grunge sounding. Like,
wow.
I feel like they're very Alice in Chains-esque, but, like, definitely with a new spin.
Hell yeah. I'll definitely check this band out. Well, I didn't. Yeah, it's funny because I know Johnny Kelly's jamming with different bands. I think he plays with Danzig, and he has been for a long time.
He's in a lot of bands. Yeah.
I don't know if this is accurate, and I don't know if someone could fill Peter's shoes, like, you know, literally and metaphorically. Like, they're big shoes to fill, literally, right? Mm-hmm. But I mean, it's just like so unique, so iconic. A lot of times, bands, you know, that has happened where, you know, singers get, but there was somewhere I heard something about Glenn Danzig, and I was like, please God, no, please no. Like, I could not. You can't do that. It's just not right. I mean, if you're a Danzig fan, fine, but that's not right. I can't think of anybody. Can you think of anybody that would correctly do that other than yourself?
No, but I mean, I would be down to like have people try just so that the music can live on in some way. It's better than no Typo Negative, personally. But I'm also a Danzig fan.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing about Danzig that would be kind of funny is you go from this like gigantic Hulk to this like midget Hulk. That would be kind of funny. It's like Peter cut in half is Danzig. Yeah, I know, because you're right. Like, you know, a great example of that actually is Alice in Chains, because Lane Staley died, and there's a lot of people that were just like not having it. But fucking William Duvall kicks ass, and I love the new Alice in Chains.
Amazing, so, and I love Lane Staley.
Yeah, same. So in that sense, I think, yeah, I just can't think of anybody, right? But somewhere out there, I bet there's somebody who's perfect for it. You know, some big badass dude who's just got to be a right fit.
I would prefer that it's not someone trying to sound like Peter. I would because I just feel like it's impossible.
No, fair enough. But I mean, you have to be able to have that range. Like, you can't sing like, you know, a tenor. You can't sing Tycho and Ava's negative songs as a tenor, right? You know, like, don't you think you have to kind of have the bass voice?
Well, I mean, look at me, you know, I'm making it work. Like, I'm a soprano.
Well, have you gotten in touch with Johnny and Kenny?
I have met them. I met Johnny twice. I hunted him down at a Danzig show in San Francisco in 2017. It was one of the best days of my life. He chatted with me for like literally like 20 minutes. Wow. He was the nicest dude ever.
Awesome.
I gave him a pumpkin, a little like artificial pumpkin that I carved his face into, and I didn't end up making it to that Danzig show that night, but someone who did told me that the jack-o'-lantern was sitting next to his drum kit on stage.
Awesome.
Yeah, that made me feel really good. Yeah, and then got to meet Kenny and Johnny again when I went to New York City, and Kenny was also the nicest dude in the world. Yeah, I just adore them.
They seem cool. I've seen like Johnny at a NAMM show. It seems really cool. What about Josh? I've never met him.
Josh is super reclusive, and he's literally my favorite person in the whole freaking world. I would die to meet him. When I went to New York, I actually ended up staying in East New York, which is like supposedly one of the worst like districts in terms of crime, but that was the very district that he works as an EMT, so I was hoping that like something terrible would happen to me and he would be the ambulance driver, but
you just go to New York and stab yourself.
No such luck.
Can you call this guy specifically, please? Well, when you say East New York, what does that mean? Like, which borough?
East New York is a neighborhood in Brooklyn.
Brooklyn, okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Are they all Brooklyn guys? Do you know?
Oh, yeah. That's so like
cool.
a huge part of what brings them together.
Yeah, so cool. Their brand is like second to none. Just so unique and amazing. Actually, this might be an only. You know what? Now that I think about it, this is a World Coming Down shirt. Only the Dead know Brooklyn. Is that what? And I've got another shirt from. I forget what album it is, but I love. Okay, if you had to pick a second favorite Typo Negative album, what would it be?
It would be World Coming Down.
Third.
I really put Origin of the Feces and Slow, Deep, and Hard together because it's the same songs.
I agree.
Yeah. So considering that, third after World Coming Down, now it's getting hard because, God, I just fucking love all of them so much. I do have a least favorite, and that is Life is Killing Me.
Really?
And I found out that's also Kenny's least favorite.
Really? I love that album.
I love it too. Don't get me wrong. I just don't love it quite as much as the rest.
I think that's like, for me, everything they have is great. But I think World Coming Down, and what was the last one?
Dead Again.
I think it's just because I'm not as familiar. I haven't listened to it as much. And like when I got World Coming Down, I just listened, or not World, well, that one too. But when I got Life is Killing Me, I just listened to it like crazy. It's a little long, but man, it's fucking good. They're all so good. I can just sit here and like blah 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 about Typo all night.
Oh,
honestly,
yeah.
What are some of your other favorite bands?
I love Dead Can Dance. I would say is my number 2 after all Typo Negative related, including Carnivore. Mm-hmm. I'd lump those all in number 1. Dead Can Dance would be number 2 for sure. I've listened to them for a very long time.
Where are they out of?
Australia.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. Have you never heard them?
I don't think I have, but I recently learned about a food from Australia. I'm trying to called Vegemite. Have you ever heard of that?
Vegemite.
I've heard of it. I don't think I've tried it.
Yeah, I really want to have it now. It's like what I got on my green beans. Apparently, it's like concentrated soy sauce that you just put on
soy
toast.
Sauce paste.
Soy sauce paste, which sounds horrible, but kind of amazing. Okay, Dead Can Dance.
Yeah. Other than that, like a bunch of like early 90s bands like Guar, Smashing Pumpkins, Alice in Chains, Tool, PJ Harvey, B-52s, Talking Heads. I love like 80s, like new wave.
Yeah. Yep. Any of oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I love like old goth, like Bauhaus, Susie and the Banshees, Joy Division, The Cure, Depeche Mode.
Sisters of Mercy.
Sisters of Mercy, I love. I haven't gotten like obsessively into like the other bands, but they're awesome.
Back in old industrial stuff.
I love old industrial. I love old Skinny Puppy.
I was gonna say Skinny Puppy, right?
Yes, I would die for old Ministry. Oh my God, some of my favorite music ever, for sure.
I just saw a Ministry video the other day for the first time in ages. That New World Order video. Remember that from the 90s? Like the dude with the big paperback George Bush. That's good stuff. I don't know what. I haven't heard any recent Ministry. When you say old Ministry, how far back does that go?
Have you heard their new wave period from the early 80s?
God, no. Wow. Holy shit.
Oh my
Really?
God. You got to get on that.
Wow.
Like, seriously, literally after we hang up, it is the best shit ever.
Wow.
Like they do new wave better than anyone else, and it's so funny because Al Jorgensen said he was doing it only to like break into the biz. It was like what the record labels wanted to hear.
Oh, wow.
Like he was not into it at all, and yet he made like some of the best new wave music in the world.
Interesting. So he followed that trend and got in, and then kind of just took it where he took it.
Exactly.
Huh.
Yeah.
I think he's got a studio. I could be totally wrong, but I feel like he's got a studio out in El Paso or something.
Oh yeah. I read his book. I think he at least had one there.
Mm-hmm. Where have you been outside of the Bay Area? Oh, actually, before that, your last name, is that your like given last name, or did you like take that from Josh Silver for like?
I did.
Your stick?
I
Okay.
did. Yeah.
Okay, so now you haven't played a ton of shows, or have you? Have you toured or?
No, we've only played 10 or 11 shows, not all in the Bay Area, but we've only traveled like a few hours outside of the Bay Area, like Tahoe and Sonora randomly.
What I mean, when was the last show you played? Have you played anything since the pandemic hit recently? No,
we have not. Our last show was like a couple weeks before the pandemic hit.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's still, at least it seems like here things are totally opening up and opened up and starting to feel a little more comfortable. People are getting vaccinated. What's it feeling like out there right now?
Well, I heard that our governor is opening up California in June, if everything goes well. But yeah, things are definitely getting there already. Like I just ate inside at a restaurant with no masks. It was amazing. And I hear, well, actually, I thought that outdoor shows were only starting to be allowed April 1st, but then I talked to a friend who does photography for concerts, and he said that it's been going on for 6 months already.
Yeah, it's different in different places, but
weird.
I know that like Texas, or at least in Austin, like there was a time, I mean, even like almost a year ago when they opened up and then everything went to shit and they spiked and they had to close down again. And then there's been a couple of times, but this time, once the vaccinations came out and have started really kind of rolling out, I think things are looking pretty good. Like they're actually going to stay open. And I mean, I played my first show for the first, since March of 2020 last weekend.
Oh, wow.
And it was pretty cool. I mean,
awesome.
Yeah, I'm glad I vaccinated because no one was wearing a goddamn mask. But I was like, well, okay. I hope this shit works. But yeah, I mean, it felt good to be back on stage, I guess. And I'm glad that there's still some venues around. But so do you have any specific plans when this is happening again? Or are you guys just waiting it out, or do you have a game plan?
We don't. We have a plan to release an album at the end of the year. And we are definitely going to jump on getting any shows we can as soon as we can.
I really want to start a festival in San Francisco. So if I do that, you're invited.
Oh.
Well, I started one here, but I want to do one out there too.
Awesome. What kind of festival?
Just music, rock, whatever.
Okay.
I almost always have I've only been doing it for a couple of years, and like 2020 didn't happen, obviously, so it kept getting postponed. It was finally going to happen in August of this year. But I've closed it out with cover bands, or tribute bands, rather, which I think is kind of cool, right? And so, naturally, a Typo Negative tribute band would be the Bee's Knees.
Cool, dude. Yeah, we'd love to.
I'll hit up Hotel Utah. What are some cool venues in San Francisco that are still there, or do you know?
Well, honestly, I'm like out of the loop as far as what's still there, but Great American Music Hall is my number one favorite.
That's where Dead Cross played, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's an awesome place.
Yeah. There's Bottom of the Hill. There's the Parkside. Those are both really awesome, kind of smaller venues.
Place called like Boom Boom Room or something?
Yeah, I think they mostly do jazzy kind of stuff, because that's in the Fillmore.
Okay, that's a jazz. Yeah. Yeah, it's right over there by, is that the Fillmore Theater?
The Fillmore is a venue, but is that not what you mean?
Yeah, no, it is. But no, I know what I'm thinking of too. So I think it's in the same area. Did you go see Bungle when they played in San Francisco last year in February?
No, I didn't.
They played at a place called, does it start with a W?
The Warfield?
Yes, that was it.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's a big one.
That was a really cool place too.
Yeah, it's nice.
Not something I can get to yet, but I'm more at the Hotel Utah status.
Yeah.
Did you watch the Bungle Halloween thing?
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, me and my friends got together and watched it. Yeah.
I didn't realize when we were talking to Eric that he did the flyer for that, and I loved that flyer, which is the Halloween thing. The night they came home.
I'm not sure if I saw that.
That's awesome. Yeah, their advertisement, it was like the Mike Myers Halloween with he did a play on that, and they said the night they came home, and it was like, but kind of like the cover art for the original Halloween movie.
Oh, wow.
Do you like green beans?
Me? They're okay.
I was out of questions, and I'm eating green beans. Oh, okay, here we go. Vic, like, I feel like this makes people uncomfortable, but I feel like Xero, look, Xero's a fucking front woman for a Typo Negative band, so.
Front ghoul,
God damn it, I'm sorry. See how aggressive she got? That's good, I like that. But as a front ghoul for a Typo Negative, you have to be negative. You have to hate shit, right? Including yourself and your band.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Vic was mentioning that, and I love that. I love the way that you guys do it proper with it. Like, check out the worst video ever and all this kind of, that's so great because it's totally the way Typo Negative did it, and it makes it so perfect. But, like, we've done this a few times, and I feel like people get uncomfortable. We talk about influences and bands you like, but then I'm like, what bands do you hate? And people are like, oh, geez, I don't know. Everything's wonderful. Is this true, or do you hate things? Bands?
Oh, of course. I love hating things.
Look at this ghoul getting all mad. I love it. Not really mad, but I just see the excitement, and her blood is like, oh, yes, hate. Okay, what bands do you hate?
The number one band that comes to mind is Maroon 5. They make me want to kill everyone.
It's so... just what's the word I'm looking for here? Like vanilla, right? It's bland, right? That music.
Yes, indeed.
I've heard the name. Is that the guy?
Oh, wow.
What's interesting to me about Maroon 5, and I mean, hey, anyone should have the right to get all tatted up if they want, but it's weird, right? Because you kind of think about tattoos as like rock and roll biker, like fuck yeah, like badass. And Adam Levine's just dude's like covered in tattoos. And, but he's got his preppy boy haircut. He's all buff, and you're kind of confused. And he like takes his shirt off, and he's like, "Payphone" or whatever, and you're just like, "What the fuck?" Like, it's weird. Yeah, I don't get it.
You could go up to anybody and ask them about their tattoos, and typically they tell a story, right? Somebody that's been in the military, hey, what's that tattoo? Oh, I got this in, whatever, Philippines or wherever, right? Or this is my unit tattoo or something, right? But yeah, I see what you're saying. It's like he gets, those sleeves that you can buy that have the fake tattoo. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I'm assuming they're real tattoos. But
is he one of the judges on?
Yes.
Is it one of those shows where
called The Voice or something? Yeah.
That thing. Yeah. The thing I never watched.
Where Zero's girl got married to that country dude.
Are you talking about Gwen?
Yeah.
Okay.
Blake
yeah. I've
Sheldon or something, whatever his name is.
Is he bro country?
Yeah, he looks borderline bro country. I don't know. I don't fucking listen to his music, so I don't know what it is, but anyway.
Okay, so Maroon 5.
That was a great answer. Oh, so we had this thing we came up with that was like, what are your top 5 like Titanic bands, like bands that you would send off on the Titanic? Like, so Maroon 5 for you is like, that's the band that's forced to play when the ship sinks, and you're like, bye. Adam Levine's like, but I just did my hair. Okay, so who else is on the Titanic?
Definitely this, I don't know how new they are, but they're definitely like big these days. Panic at the Disco. Do you know them?
I've heard the name a lot.
Yeah.
Holy fuck, they are annoying. Like, honestly, they could be even more annoying than Maroon 5. Like, it's just like shrill.
Like, in what way? Like the vocals or?
The vocals mostly, but the music in general, honestly. Like, I literally, like, gag when I hear it.
Zero's commitment to hating bands is so wonderful to me. I've been waiting like 49 podcasts for this moment.
Yeah, because everybody's like, nice. Well, I really don't like these guys, but, it's I'm sure they're nice and blah, blah, blah. But
she's just like, put these motherfuckers on the Titanic. They're annoying. God damn it.
It's probably because as part of my job, I have to drive around and I listen to the radio.
Oh, God.
So I'm exposed to a lot of shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know
like
it's
going
silly,
to the gym, right? And they got the playlist going on. It's just the generic, just awful.
Yeah, like Maroon 5 at the gym. What the hell? Like, you can't work out to that.
No.
I'm not trying to be like cute and funny and, mean to gays or something, but like, I guess even saying it that way makes me sound terrible. But like, I mean, I wonder if like, and this is very stereotypical, right? I've dug myself a hole, which I do on so many podcasts, but like, is there guys in the gym that are just like, that's what they're like, they hear that music and they're like, woohoo, this feels good, right? Because I don't know. I feel like no matter who you are in the gym, like you want Pantera, right? I want to be like fucking, yeah. How do you fucking work out to Maroon 5? What about Smash Mouth? You putting them on the Titanic?
I love Smash Mouth. Mostly
Nick,
ironically. But they do have one song that I actually like. Walking on the Sun. I've karaoke'd it once, and it was actually like too hard for me. I was surprised, but
too hard because you're too good for it. That's why. And not bring yourself down to that level of terribleness.
I understand you feeling that way. They definitely have songs that make me barf for sure.
Wait, so why? Okay. So we talk, but are you one of those people that's actually taken the time to get beyond Walking on the Sun or whatever it's called and listen All-Star and listen to their deep cuts and like suddenly they're Pink Floyd? Like what's going on here? I'm confused. Like why do you like Smash Mouth?
I'll tell you what's going on. It's because I glorify my middle school days. Even though there was a lot of shitty music that I listened to, I just like, it's just funny. It was just such a horrible time that like I have to love it now.
You think Peter Steele liked Smash Mouth?
For sure.
Maybe that's what Josh does in his little sanctuary, all locked away, soundproof rooms.
He's playing it in the ambulance when he takes you away.
Oh, that would be a dream.
You're an all-star. You can make it, girl. You're an all-star.
Not that one.
Okay, so
she
Maroon got one 5. Answer wrong, but she got 2 right. Okay, so who else goes on the Titanic? We've got 2 so far.
Panic at the Disco, Maroon 5. Okay.
Yeah, another like more recent person that has been like killing me when they come on the radio is Taylor Swift. And I actually like a lot of pop, you know? It's not the genre. It's just that it seems so like empty to me. I
can see that. Yeah. Very generic, cranked out type of
very
stuff.
generic.
Yeah.
Indeed.
My thing is like I don't really have anything against like Taylor Swift or a lot of the pop stars, but the problem is they kind of get all the high level glory every year. It's like Grammy season, Taylor Swift again. You know, it's like there are other artists and songwriters. You're aware of this, correct? Recording Academy? Nope, they're not. Oh, I'm sorry. It's more like here's $1 billion. We're going to get Taylor Swift on the ballot again. Yeah, sounds good. This is my assumption, but I don't know. Yeah, Taylor Swift, she's not Titanic material, in my mind. Vic?
I would say Nicki Minaj or
I actually love Nicki Minaj's older stuff. I feel like she started sucking after a little bit.
We're middle-aged white guys. We have to hate Nicki Minaj and Cardi B. It's in our blood. We're not allowed to.
Really?
Maybe that's the one.
We have to hate
Maybe it's
them.
Cardi B. I don't know.
This is an outrage. My day, I used to watch Leave It to Beaver.
Oh, it's like too racy?
Well, here's an argument, right? Like, and we've had some talented women on this show that like, I respect and love Cardi B, and I'm like, what? But I get that she's a performer.
Maybe
She's probably
Cardi B.
Yeah, probably. Nicki Minaj was like Cardi B before Cardi B, and they both just have big butts and sloppy pussies, right? That's the thing. That's like, I'm a woman and I'm empowered. Look at my pussy. Like, that's the thing, right? And it's so like a lot of middle-aged guys are like, this is an outrage. And then women are like, oh, this is empowering for women. It's about time we get to talk about our bodies and that we can be sexually free, and it's not all about your dicks, you bunch of fucking chauvinistic assholes, right? That's kind of the gist of it.
I mean, I definitely agree with that because, I mean, dicks are talked about constantly in music, like constantly for a long time.
Were they? Maybe I was listening to the wrong music.
At least in hip hop.
I feel like they're just everywhere. Even as I eat these green beans, I'm like, look, I'm representing penises. It's just, I can't get it, you know?
You're part of the problem.
Exactly. I'm offending people and I don't even know it.
Maybe Kiss with Love Gun, right?
Oh, God.
There you go.
Are you a Kiss fan?
I am, only because I know Johnny is a major Kiss fan, so I have to get into them because of that.
I've had this conversation so many times, it blows my mind. Like all these phenomenal musicians, Dimebag, Eddie Van Halen, or, Marty Friedman, and all these guys love Kiss. And I'm like, I don't understand why.
It might be a nostalgic thing, because I know he grew up listening to them.
And when you're a kid, it's cool, and it's rock and roll, and it's risky.
Oh, yeah.
And it's fun, and so, like you said with Smash, I think it's Smash Mouth syndrome. You're kind of like willing to go, yeah, their music sucks, but it makes me feel good because it takes me back to my childhood or whatever, right?
Well, Kiss were very revolutionary. Like, they did a lot for...
Yeah, I mean, I'll give them credit for that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, I don't think they're claiming to be Queen in terms of, songwriting or... Well, maybe. Yeah. I don't know. Gene Simmons just wants to make money. That's all he gives a shit about, right? I don't think they care about the songs. But yeah, it's always been an interesting phenomenon to me, like how many people just love Kiss. Love
yeah.
Kiss.
I think you got it. It's nostalgic, right? Because that's like one of the first bands that kind of was different. They're wearing makeup and dressed up the way they were. And yeah. So I think that may be it. Or just listening to rock and roll all night or whatever that song is. But,
don't lie, Vic. That's what you work out to.
Yeah.
Dude, jiu-jitsu training to like lick it up. One of the best videos ever, by the way. Y'all seen that video where they're just like walking down the street and Gene Simmons looks like a Neanderthal and they're all just lick it up.
Is that hilarious. The first one they did without their makeup?
Maybe. I think it might be.
Yeah, I remember when they did the Kiss Unmasked, right, on MTV, and it was like, oh, damn, put the makeup back on, dude.
They came out with that album like, I don't know if the album was called this or the song was called Revenge. And it was like heavy. It's supposed to be like heavy, but and back then I'm like, whoa, cool. Well, that's the thing when you're a kid though, you don't know, right? You just hear things, you're like, oh, I want to hear Kiss is cool, I guess, whatever. And then you sort of start to formulate well, hopefully your own opinions and decide what you actually as an individual like and don't like. And it's fine. Everybody has a right to like whatever, but some people are just wrong and I'm right. I'm just kidding. I'm not really this big of an asshole. Only on this podcast.
Okay, so it's not going to be Nicki Minaj or Cardi B. I can't remember which one's which.
What's the
I
difference?
just get annoyed when they're in an interview and you can't really understand what they're saying, and everybody's like, "Oh, that's so wise," and I'm like, "What? What did she say? What?"
Example?
Whichever one of the girls was interviewing Biden before the election.
Oh, that was Cardi B.
Whoa.
That was Cardi
Was it
B.
Cardi B?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, and like I didn't really the questions she was throwing out there. I'm like, how did this happen? Right, but I'm like, why? I just don't get it.
I don't even know what that was about. Like,
I guess getting people to vote. People that listen to Cardi B go vote for Biden because she's talking to him. Who knows? But it was just so bizarre. It was weird. I just don't get it. It hurt my brain. It really did. I had to drop down to elementary books after watching that.
Started reading
So
Cat in the Hat. Started reading Cat in the
Yeah,
Hat.
man, I couldn't do big
We got
words after that.
reprimanded.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm back to normal now for the most part. If normal's the thing.
See what
Anyway,
Cardi B
okay,
does
so-
to see what Cardi B does to your average chauvinistic male. Can't handle that woman empowerment, man. Too much for us. Okay, so they're not on the Titanic. Sorry, we went off on a tangent there.
Yeah, we did. Okay, so Maroon 5, Panic at the Disco. What was the other one?
And Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift. Okay. So it's 3. Okay.
Is that all you got?
Generic, bland. Okay. Yep.
That's all that's come to mind so far, but I'm sure there's many, many more.
Limp Bizkit.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I love that.
Sure.
This has been happening like on the last several shows. Like someone will be like, I don't know. And I'm sure there's more. And I'm like, Limp Bizkit. Oh yes, of course, Limp Bizkit.
Yeah. Yeah, our keyboardist is going to hate me for saying this, but I wasn't into any of the, like, new metal that came out around that time. What were some of the
Yeah, I never
other
got into new
bands?
metal.
Gosh, yeah. What were some of the other
Kind
bands
of
back then?
corny.
I actually love early Korn. I love their first 2 albums.
The Chutes and Ladders and.
Well, I give Korn credit because they were so different, and I mean, they got a huge following. I mean, at least they think they did something pretty unique. I don't know any other band that sounded like Korn for sure until they came out.
Yeah.
I saw them a while back, and they put on a great show. It was before
That Alice in Chains show.
Yeah,
I was
way
there.
before. No, it was a few years before. Actually, not a few years. It was maybe 2000. Gosh, 2005, 2006. I don't know. It was a while back.
It's a long time.
I just know
ago.
Korn was there. It was before the guitarist left. Was it Head?
Head. I thought Head was the drummer. Do you know who's who in that band?
I don't know them that well, no.
Yeah, so it was before their... No, they still had the original drummer. They had all their... It was the original lineup, so it was before they kind of started breaking off there, right?
I think fucking Terry Bozzio actually played for Korn for a minute.
Well, the drummer left. What's his name? I don't remember the drummer's name, but he's gone.
I thought that
The
was
guitar
Head.
player came back. No, I think it's Head and Monkey are the guitar players.
Oh, Monkey, yeah. You know what?
Yeah.
Dude, I saw Korn open. Now that I think about it, speaking of which, kind of bring it back to Typo Negative. Life of Agony, Korn and Ozzy in 90. I don't know if it was late 90s somewhere, but it was their first show back in San Antonio after Ozzy pissed on the Alamo, right? He was banned for like 10 years or whatever.
Oh, that's right. He
I
was.
didn't
Yeah,
know
yeah, and he
yeah,
made like
yeah.
I think he made like a big contribution or donation to the Daughters of the Revolution or whatever, some organization, whatever they're called.
Wait,
And they
Was
had
he
him back
banned-
and they played the Alamo.
banned
Dome.
from San Antonio, or was he banned from Texas?
don't
I think it was
banned
just San
from Texas.
Antonio, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because I
Okay.
think I had seen him before that. it's kind of a blur, but I think I saw him in Austin in South Park Meadows. That's probably when I saw Typo Negative and like the
back when they played shows at South Park Meadows.
And that was probably after Bloody Kisses. Now that I think about it, because I feel like October Rust was going to come out or something. But anyway, felt like it was the mid '90s. Yeah, nothing was out there. Big fields, none of that was developed, and they had that, and Sepultura opened, and but then I can't remember if that was before or after I saw Ozzy in San Antonio. But that was the first time I ever saw Korn, and that was probably late '90s. But yeah, Life of Agony, because Life of Agony was Typo Negative's original drummer, I think, right? Sal.
Oh yeah, Sal.
And then he went and played with those guys. I think is the story there. Yeah. Oh, what's so weird about Typo? And I remember a drummer told me this one time, and I was like, no, that's ridiculous. I'm getting all upset. And it's true. Like after that, I feel like after Bloody Kisses, they didn't actually have drums on their albums. It's like it's all programmed. It was all Josh and Peter.
Yeah, I think you're right about that.
And then when you listen, you go back, you're kind of like, oh yeah, okay. So I don't know if Johnny, maybe on the later ones I'm not sure, but I don't know if Johnny actually ever played on an album or if he was just like the live touring guy.
I think he has, but I don't remember exactly which album.
I feel like maybe the later ones, but definitely not. I don't think it was on. I'm pretty like Life is Killing Me's programmed. I would assume World Coming Down before that. I think October Rust was too. But it's funny because you can kind of hear the organic quality of like Bloody Kisses. Some of the songs they kind of, and then the next few albums are like super tight. So, are you a 5-piece band?
We are currently a 4-piece because we are missing a bassist.
Oh, yeah. I think I saw you had a post about that.
Yeah, we've been looking for a few months now. It's been surprisingly difficult, but I guess maybe not that surprising because maybe because of COVID.
I think so. I think it's part of it, yeah.
Skunk, you know a few bass players in San Francisco, right?
I do.
Hook us up.
My fiance plays bass.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, it'd be awesome to have another ghoul in the band.
I'll have a chat with her when we get out there tomorrow.
Cool.
I'll show up with some green bass. Oh, hey, speaking of which, we did a Typo Negative cover. I mean, it was kind of just thrown together at the last minute, but it's her on bass and me playing piano, and we did a cover of the last song on Bloody Kisses, which I love, is Can't Lose You.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
Kind of a real chill, whatever thing. I feel like I've been meaning to do a Typo cover forever, but I think that's the only thing I put online. My band used to do a medley. Vic, do you remember seeing us do the Typo stuff back in the day?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember that.
We did a medley where, sometimes we would just play one song or whatever, but we did a medley. I think we started with Black Number 1, went in to Kill All the White People, and then finished it with the first track off of Slow, Deep, and Hard, The Natural Beauty of Infidel, whatever the hell that long-ass title is. I know you're fucking someone else.
That's right.
This is the best shit ever.
So good.
That album is so amazing. And the first track and the last track on that album, I love the whole album, but that last track is so good too. Just the Gravitational Constant. It's got some weird kind of name, but it's so good.
I'm gonna have to go back and listen to that album again.
Oh yeah, it's like so dark and suicidal, and it's like you don't wonder if I think it's probably both of is this a guy who's just like super depressed and suicidal, or is just this the joke, right? And I think it's a little bit of both, Mm-hmm. And that's kind of like what I love about it, because it's kind of the human experience, And I think Peter Steele just had this great, depending on how you feel, you could either be like, this is hilarious, or you can really be moved by it in a way that, hopefully you don't kill yourself, but where you're just at the intensity of it. I know that there are times when I was just down or pissed or whatever, and Typo Negative's music is just kind of healing, right? Because it's relatable. You feel this anguish, and you're like, yeah, me too, goddammit. And you feel fucking that's the kind of shit I would work out to, not payphone girl, I don't it's yeah, fuck yeah, and Peter Steele's all buff, and you're just I'm a man. Yeah, it's gonna be all right. Yeah, I remember we had a gig booked when the day he died, which I can't believe it's been, 10, 11 years. No, I think it was 2009, I believe. I can't even remember. We happened to have a gig booked that day, and we were going to even play the cover, so it just like kind of worked out. We played Kill All the White People, and it was just like super cool. Like the people that were there that were like Typo fans were just like, we showed up like, I think one of us was wearing a Typo shirt, and people were like, oh my God, did you hear? Are you going to play a Typo negative song? We're like, yeah, it was just kind of a cool tribute the day of, So where can people find you, Xero?
We have a Facebook page. We are also on YouTube. We have, actually, that's about it.
You don't do the grams?
No, we're not cool enough.
No,
for
I think that
that
makes you cool, actually.
Does? Oh.
Instagram's stupid. I hate it.
I think all social media is stupid.
Oh.
I know. It's just, gosh. I just get tired
Necessary evil.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I found the YouTube page. So I see the 3 videos on there, right?
Is it just none more negative? Is that what it's called?
Yep.
None more negative. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, they're pretty badass. Or the one I saw and remember as recently was really well done. Musically and the video, everything. It's awesome.
So Lane Staley's anniversary, or, when he died, was April 5th. So that was Monday, this past Monday.
Yeah, him and Kurt Cobain died on the same day.
Same day.
I mean, different
yeah,
years,
right.
but same day.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody talks about Kurt Cobain, though, and everybody forgets Lane
he's
Staley,
just
which
iconic. Everybody just knows that name. It's just an endless thing that's going to be, culture. Lane Staley's a little less known.
Personally, I preferred Alice in Chains over Nirvana.
Oh yeah, and that's the thing is I'm not one of these Nirvana haters. They're like, oh, they ruined music and everything was stupid once grunge happened. Like, no, I love those bands, and Nirvana's great, and Bleach and those are awesome. But still, Nirvana's great. Alice in Chains is greater, in my opinion, right? Xero, not so much.
Such a hard choice.
They're both really good.
I don't know.
I just love Alice in Chains.
I can definitely see that for sure. Maybe if I didn't know the previous band, Fecal Matter, I might be on your side.
Excuse me? Wait.
You don't know Fecal Matter?
What's happening here? Elaborate.
So that is the old band of Kurt and I believe his name is Chris.
Novak?
Yeah, that guy. Yeah. Check them out. They've got some videos.
Is it good or?
They're crazy. What?
Is it good?
It's amazing.
Like just super punk rock or what?
Yeah,
Oh,
pretty
wow.
punk. Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that too because Duff McKagan from Guns N' Roses had a band in Seattle called the Farts, like a punk band called the Farts.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh man, I gotta. I'm gonna. Yeah. I just realized as I'm going to do this, I'm like, I'm gonna Google that. I'm like, whoa, you can't just Google fucking Fecal Matter, dude. Like, you gotta carefully.
I think if you YouTube it, you'll be good.
Okay, that was
Put
almost
some
a
context around
disaster.
that
Like,
Google
almost saw
search.
some fucking haunting images.
So
so Fecal
Lane
Matter.
Staley, Kurt
here's
Cobain, Chris Cornell is another one.
Yeah, I mean,
Seattle.
dude, super unknown.
Oh my god.
Okay, let's see if we can do this for all of us here because we all grew up and we all love that early '90s grunge scene. We got Nirvana, we have Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, Pearl Jam. Those are kind of the Seattle 4, right? So,
Right.
Do you have a favorite album from each of those bands?
Soundgarden, God, I love their earlier stuff, from the late 80s, but I honestly wouldn't be able to pinpoint an album. They're all really fucking good. And Alice in Chains, that's so hard.
They're all really good.
Yeah.
Probably Dirt.
No.
Nirvana, God. I would have to choose. I want to say Nevermind. I feel like
it feels cliche, but it's a great album. It is a great album.
It really is. Yeah.
And then Pearl Jam, who cares?
Honestly, like I'm not as into them, but I do love them.
Yeah, no,
I just wouldn't be able to tell you.
I just kind of
10 was really good.
Dude, you can only keep up with so much. Like, and I just kind of fell off. I think a lot of people did. They did Vitalogy and Yield, and I think they got a little softer, and a lot of people, whatever. And then they started putting out all their lives. So I don't know. Pearl Jam has a gajillion albums, but their first two albums are killer, and I love Versus. That second album is just a really great album, and for whatever reason, it was one of the early albums that I just used to play guitar along to and like learned all the riffs and so I dig those two albums a lot. But I Super Unknown for Soundgarden, shit, man, it doesn't get much better than that fucking thing. Although, dude,
I love the title track to that one, man.
That whole album is just insane. Oh yeah, like the whole album's amazing. And I don't know if you've heard it, if either of y'all have heard it, but the album they put out in 2012, I think it's called King Animal.
Yeah.
That is a kick-ass fucking album, dude.
Truly.
So good, because I felt like that was Soundgarden at their kind of Super Unknown phase, but the sonic quality was better. Like, you know what I mean? Not to say it was bad back then. It was the grunt, you know, I don't know. It was just almost even more pristine and refined. I still think I would choose Super Unknown just as it's so classic, but man, King Animal is a phenomenal album. I love that album. So I'd put that between those two.
What about Chains?
Ooh, that's so hard, man. So hard.
I know.
Can we do two? Can we do both eras, right?
I was going to, whoa, gosh, I didn't even think about that because I kept thinking between Jar of Flies and Dirt, but then you mentioned
God, yeah.
Duval.
Jar of Flies is so good too, man. I mean, it's almost
that
impossible. It's almost
Black
impossible.
Gives Way to Blue and Duval.
Great album.
Picks up the yeah.
Dude,
So
Chains, they're just all on equal ground. It's impossible to pick. It's impossible. Nirvana, like, I don't know. I kind of agree, but there's a part of me that wants to just say Bleach, because Bleach just kind of is just this cool kind of raw, like, we don't give a fuck. And I don't know. I just really like that album. I like that. I'll go with that. What about you, Vic?
I mean, I'm kind of dig, Nevermind was the first one. I didn't hear Bleach until after, they got super popular, but never, like, it goes back to that nostalgia thing, right? Where I was at the time in my life, right? Trying to go to college and not working out. And I was like, screw it. I'll just go in the military. I'll travel the world. I'll go on an adventure. Yeah. All right.
I remember starting playing guitar and everyone was like, there was kind of that, like, the metal 80s dudes were just like, this fucking sucks. And it was like, there's no guitar solos. Yeah. And that was like impossible to get away from, though. Like, we all learned Smells Like Teen Spirit. Like, everybody in the world still learns that guitar riff, just like they learned Inner Sandman or whatever. And all came out at the same time. But I think I had, like, more so back then, this notion of, like, they're not, I mean, like, from a technical standpoint, of course you're not as good, but, like, you don't have to, like, play guitar solos and be able to do all these fancy things to write amazing songs and have a unique style and be even a great guitar player in your own right. And I think, like, it was so different. And Kurt Cobain more so, right, than Alice in Chains, because Alice in Chains is, pretty credible. Jerry Cantrell's pretty credible both as a guitarist and a songwriter, like, big time, right?
Love him.
Yeah, I mean, this guy's amazing. Now, I will say, Kim Thile, I don't get it. That dude, I am not a fan of his guitar playing. To me, he just, like, Chris Cornell writes fucking perfect 10 songs and then Kim Thile plays on them and makes them like 8s. I don't understand. Like, that's just me. That's my opinion. And I also think it's because, like, for some reason, I've read some articles and he just comes off as a little pompous to me. And I'm just like, you're not that good. But Soundgarden is so great and Chris Cornell is so great that, like, it doesn't matter. Like, and it works. It's kind of, the weirdness of it kind of fits the brand, so you kind of get used to it. But yeah, I think in terms of the guitar players, I would definitely put Jerry Cantrell, like, at the top. Like, he's the most polished of all of them. But, like, what else was I thinking now? Just
I was thinking about that time that Nevermind came out. Like, what was going on? Because you mentioned, like,
91
things like that.
91,
yes.
I think.
91
or 2.
Because 9 Inch Nails came out around that time.
Oh, closer.
That first album, Pretty Hate Machine, right?
Oh, Pretty Hate.
That was 89.
Oh, 89. Yeah,
and I think
you're right.
Downward
Absolutely.
Spiral was, Downward Spiral seems like it might have been a little later than 91.
I want to say it was like 93, maybe.
I feel like that's,
I should know this. I feel 94? Like it's even 94.
Yeah, 94.
Maybe it's 94.
Early 94. And actually, Nevermind Yeah, you might be right. Maybe that was 91.
But back to the early 90s, Rust in Peace came out then, too. Right?
Yeah, Rust in Peace was 90. Album. Are you a Megadeth fan, Xero?
No.
What?
I mean, I'm really not that familiar with them. I've heard, like, the big songs.
They're awesome. They're so good.
I would be open to...
Almost as good as Maroon 5.
Hearing more.
Almost.
Oh, wow.
Well, like a little bit of a Panic at the Disco vibe, you know?
Oh,
Oh, so we got 4 bands, right? So Panic at the Disco, Maroon 5, Taylor Swift, Limp Bizkit.
Oh, yeah, The Given.
The Given.
We helped you out with that one. Now you got to pick number 5.
Okay. How about good old... it's such a cliche, but Creed.
Yeah. No, by all means. It was really funny. We were, I forget who it was, but we were interviewing someone. They were like saying how their dad was like super cool and like grew up and like introduced them all the old classic rock and Deep Purple and Led Zeppelin and all this cool stuff, and then went through this like middle-aged phase of listening to Creed. They were like, "What is happening?"
Who was that we talked to? I think it was. Oh, it was last week. The podcast we had last week.
Was that Crow Jane? Maybe it was Crow Jane.
Was it Crow Jane? I think it was Crow Jane.
No. I don't know. This is what'll happen with you, Xero. In a few weeks, we'll be like, "Oh, wasn't it Xero that said she loved Maroon 5? Yeah, Xero loved Maroon 5. That was the one." Well, I've just about finished my green beans, so
Wow.
Thank you for enduring this awkward podcast of me smacking in your ear the whole time. But this has been a lot of fun. Yeah, I mean, so it's just like, I love like the bond of music. And that's kind of one reason we started this podcast. And a lot of people we've had on here are obviously musicians and people involved in music in various capacities, artists and all kinds of stuff. But the amazing thing about that, right, just from something so little as like a cool shirt, and you kind of you have this bond with somebody, and you're like, oh yeah, and you get to talking and all that. And so this has been kind of a cool way to those people that I've like loosely met, and they go like, come on here and let's talk and find out, obviously like Typo Negative, but now we know so much more. We know that you hate Maroon 5. Yeah, and hopefully, I'm excited. I hope that, at some point, especially now kind of bouncing back from here to San Francisco, like I was saying, I would love to get out to San Francisco and some of the people I've been meeting out there and some of the bands and play out there, and kind of explore that scene a little bit, because there's so much like amazing artistic history and musical history. I have always had, speaking of the Seattle stuff and the Pacific Northwest, I've just always, I think, had a resonance with so many of my closest to my heart, Typo Negative is kind of the exception, the Brooklyn guys, right? But so many of the bands that are just like my absolute favorites are West Coast bands, from like the Bungle, the whole, or Faith No More, all the Bay Area stuff, the Melvins, all the Seattle stuff, like the Doors in LA or that kind of thing. So, Metallica even, right? Bay Area. All those Bay Area, there's a lot of, who was some of the other ones? There was Exodus and all those old like right. Death Angel and all that shit, which I didn't even know those guys until we played with them. I was like, oh, they're like been around since Metallica days, man.
Yeah.
What do you think the scene is like? Is there a scene? Does anyone have a fucking scene anymore? Right? What are your thoughts on that?
I honestly don't really know how to answer that question. There's a lot of, I think there's a pretty decent music scene. Like, there's a lot of bands and a lot of little venues, or at least there used to be.
Now, so here we've got Texas country, which is this huge market. Clearly, California is not a huge market for Texas country, I would assume. Is there a country market out there?
That I have no idea about. Like, I don't know people. I know a few people who like old country, but...
They're cool, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not like Toby Keith or who's the new one? Like Luke Bryan or somebody comes to San Francisco and like kills.
No one who listens to that, no.
See?
Look, the country guys that dress like Creed.
A lot of a lot of people talk shit about a lot of Texans, right? Texans are very macho about Texas. Fair enough. Texas is a pretty cool place. There's a lot of great things that Texas has to offer. I love Austin. But that's a pretty big selling point for like San Francisco, if you ask me, that as a general rule, you guys are like, nah, we're good, Luke Bryan.
Yeah.
Kenny Chesney, we're okay. You can go back to Nashville. That's just me. Burning bridges through the industry because,
Yeah, maybe
I was so close to getting that Nashville deal, huh?
Maybe those folks are over in the East Bay. I don't know.
Nah, they're all in San Jose. Probably, right? Because that's kind of a tech town. There's probably a bunch of like hipster dudes. San Jose is probably like huge for Dave Matthews Band. It's a bunch of like tech guys that are like, yeah, bro, DMB's coming to town, bro.
I was actually curious about that, with the whole tech explosion, right? Because when I first went to San Francisco, it was early 90s, right? Because I was stationed over in Vallejo back when it was a Navy base. And it was a cool city, right?
Vallejo? Really? Outside of San Francisco? Oh, shit. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They have a shipyard out there.
Wow.
And so the city had a really cool vibe. And then, so fast forward to like, not too distant past, right? I go out there for work and it's totally changed. It's totally different. It's very tech-centric, tech-minded. Seemed a lot colder. And not temperature-wise, but like the people are just really head down, Maybe it's just the industry.
Sounds like there's a cloud of something hovering around over there.
I know. I'm kind of wondering if that affected any of the, the music or how's that changed the music landscape out there. I guess not too much if you still have like Bungle and.
Yeah, but those are old school bands, and I think that's the kind of the tragedy and the downside of like Charlie Hodge here on the radio in 93.7 used to call it the Johnny Dallas, right? And they come in and they buy the stuff and they throw up all the condos, and all these yuppies come in and they're like, we don't want to watch original live bands who do interesting, weird, unique things. No, man, we want Dave Matthews Band. Close all this shit down. Yeah, exactly. We want whatever we were told to like on I can't say MTV because that's not a thing, but whatever, right?
At the frat house.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like I think there's that kind of thing, and as an artistic sort of musician and someone who like really cares about the indie artist and enjoys that and wants to see that thrive, like those kind of things to me are. I have nothing against the big guys, right? But let the little guys have a shot too. And so that's like, I hate when that happens. And you see that I think in a lot of places, like Austin always had this Keep Austin Weird, the super. Not to say there's not a lot of great cool stuff going on, right? But we've seen 6th Street turn into Disneyland, and it's just like you don't have the same history and culture that you used to down there. And I'm sure I'm sure there's similar things happening in San Francisco. So.
Big time.
That's why I'm gonna come in there with my big bad festival.
Yeah.
Skunk West.
I like
Skunk
to dream
Fest
big.
West.
Yeah, man. I'm booking all the country artists. Here we come.
Maroon 5 opening or closing.
Oh man,
headlining.
Just to be a dick, I'll just do that to Xero just to be a huge dick. Hey, guess what? You're playing second to last. Oh, awesome. Who's closing? Maroon 5. I would not do that to you because I wouldn't do that to myself. Like, so you're safe. You don't have to worry about it. No, I'm thinking more like I would, dude. Like, here's what's cool about San Francisco, right? It's like Austin, because I had talked to like Justin Pearson about the Locust or something, and they actually came through and played here, and they played Denver and out Dallas and San Antonio, and they did a little run a few years ago, and then they it was the Melvins that toured up the West Coast last time I was down there, but we're so far away, you know what I mean? Like, but I feel like if you got a band that's in LA or San Diego it's a little bit of a drive, but San Francisco or Patton lives right there. I'm not gonna say I could just like make a phone call and book Mike Patton, but I feel like those kind of bands are in that area. Those kind of bands aren't here. And so like that's so appealing to me for that region to go there and be like try to build something and then find a band of that sort of caliber, not Faith No More, but like Dead Cross, or something in that vein. and to try, that would be the fucking shit. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's so cool, and at least
I think you're just
let
trying
a boy
to get
dream.
fondled like your brother.
There is that too, honestly. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I'd like to feel Mike Patton's soft, warm touch on my genitals. Well, sorry, Xero. We made your podcast awkward. I promise, as promised before we started. Look at her face. She's like, "Oh God, what did I do? Why am I here?
Why am I not on mushrooms?"
I relate, honestly. I relate completely to what you just said. So.
How so? To being horribly awkward, or to just like, to wanting to be fondled by Mike Patton? Yeah, cool. Well, we both share the same dream. That's good to know. All right, awesome. All right, we're on the. We should we'll start a Facebook group called "I Want to Get Fondled by Mike Patton." My brother will be the administrator. He can give us pointers on how to make that happen.
Yes,
Step
please.
1: don't look like
Ryan
Gosling, but somehow look like Ryan Gosling to Mike Patton. Speaking of Ryan Gosling, the whole reason I think Mike Patton said that was it wasn't too far after the movie Place Beyond the Pines came out. Did you ever see that movie?
No.
Fucking awesome. He did the soundtrack.
Really?
Mike Patton did, and it's like Ryan Gosling, Bradley Cooper, that girl that I can never remember her name, who's like incredibly beautiful, who's married to Ryan Gosling,
right? Torres.
I don't know why. Jennifer something. No,
Mendez. Eva Mendes.
Eva. I don't know. Blah, blah, blah. Ray Liotta, who plays a bad cop. Surprise. But it's really good. Really good movie. Great acting. I thought it was a good story, the whole nine. So I recommend that. Okay, tell us your favorite movies, and then we'll all depart.
Okay, so one of my favorite movies is, I'm sure you guys have never even heard of it, Freeway 2, Confessions of a Trick Baby.
Time out. Freeway 2. Now,
have you seen Freeway?
Yes. Hold on. Are we
good,
talking about
right?
the Kiefer Sutherland movie? That movie's awesome. It's fucked up, but it's really good. I did not know there was a Freeway 2. I'm assuming he's not in it.
It's much, much worse.
Oh, wow.
No, he's not in it.
Freeway 1 is dark as it is.
Is it Samurai Cop dark?
No, that's I don't even know what that is, Vic. It's anyway.
Sorry, I just
Freeway 2.
Freeway 2.
Yeah, Natasha Lyonne is the star.
Oh, okay.
So it actually does have someone well known, surprisingly, for how it's like a D movie for sure. Yeah, that's amazing. I love. Do you know the director Greg Araki?
Not off the top of my head.
He did Nowhere, Doom Generation, Smiley Face. He really doesn't have very well-known films.
I've
They're
heard
all
the
pretty
name.
underground.
Smiley Face
Heard the
sounds
name.
super familiar, actually.
Smiley Face is a stoner movie with Anna Faris.
Oh, yeah. I think I've seen it.
Okay, yeah.
I think it's the best stoner movie ever made. But yeah, he's just all around one of my favorite directors. I love everything he's done. I love everything John Waters has done.
I would just...
Oh,
go ahead.
I was going to say Natural Born Killers. That's maybe my number one.
Let's see that. Yeah, Woody Harrelson's such a great actor. And Juliette Lewis, too. It's great actors. And Robert Downey Jr. is in that movie.
Oh, my God, yes.
All great actors.
Good.
Yeah, Robert Downey Jr. is.
Tommy Lee Jones is in that one.
Tommy Lee Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Tommy Lee Jones is a little bit more... I think, you know what I mean? I think the others are a little more eclectic. Tommy Lee Jones, I think, plays... But I love Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah.
And I love Tommy Lee Jones, the classic fugitive stuff, and then the line, the hen house, dog house, outhouse, blah, blah, that whole thing. But Tommy Lee Jones is hilarious in Under Siege. One of my favorite lines of any movie ever. Do you know that movie with Steven Seagal and where he's like Die Hard on a battleship? It's hilarious. It's terrible, but wonderful.
Hilarious. Yeah.
And there's this part where I know this isn't this funny, but it's just funny to me, where they launch this nuke at Washington or something, and Tommy Lee Jones is the bad guy who hijacked the ship, and he's in they fake to be a rock band to come on and play the captain's birthday and then hijack the ship. And then Steven Seagal, who's the cook, saves the day and all this shit. And but Tommy Lee Jones, they launch this nuke and he's just bang, you're dead. And it's just only Tommy Lee Jones could have given me so much joy with that line. Anyway, and then there's a great fight scene at the end. I'm sorry to ruin it for you, but where Steve. Oh, one thing that I really like about movies is when you can catch the doubles, like the bad doubles or their masks or whatever, right? And so there's a part where like they're having a knife fight at the end, and it stabs him in the eye, and like right at that frame, if you like, you can tell, like you can even tell without pausing it. It's like a little too long, and it's just like this terrible mask. It's like not Tommy Lee Jones at all, and it's just like hilarious. But I always love when I see a stunt double in a movie, and it's just so clearly. By the way, the movie, if you like bad movies for the sake of bad movies, the one that Victor mentioned, I have a friend in England who is a connoisseur of horrible movies. I don't know how bad you like them to be, but I can tell you the worst movies of all time. Okay. So he's recommended a movie called Samurai Cop.
Oh,
now,
I don't know it.
Here's just a little. It does, and I'm actually going to be watching that as soon as I get to San Francisco. That's one of our first things to do is watch Samurai Cop. But like, so in Samurai Cop, apparently this is how you know it's good. The lead guy who was like a bodyguard for Sylvester Stallone or who knows, whatever. He's kind of a buff, good-looking young guy or who knows. Somehow wants to be an actor, so he gets this role in as some martial arts cop bullshit, but it doesn't even know martial arts or who knows. It's all terrible but wonderful. But anyway, so they shoot this movie, and then apparently he gets his agent or whatever says like, well, if you want to get more roles, you should probably, like long hair. He's like, you should probably cut your hair, right? You'll get more opportunities. He cuts his hair and then gets a call from the director or whatever. It's like, hey, we need you back on set. We've got some more stuff to shoot. And he's like, and he's like, oh, I cut my hair. It's like, oh my God, why? We weren't done. So anyway, so what they do is they put a wig on this dude. So there's like half the movie, it's his hair, and half of him he's wearing this wig. And apparently there's like a fight scene where they're fighting, and his wig falls off, and he just picks it back up and like puts it on, and they just continue shooting. So super like Ed Wood style stuff. Yeah. So Samurai Cop and Birdemic is probably the worst movie in the history of movies I've ever seen in my life. If you really want to watch terrible movies, Birdemic is.
I think there's like a 30 minute video on YouTube about the whole Samurai Cop.
Yeah, like
you just the production, and it's great. It makes me want to watch the movie now.
So you like bad movies, and I'm assuming you like horror movies just in general.
I used to be a lot more into horror, but as I've gotten older, I've become a big wuss. I really like certain types. Like, I love campy horror, of course, always. And I love, like just certain types of horror. Like, I saw Midsommar, and it definitely traumatized me, but I loved it. It was very, like, artsy and interesting and cool. So if there's enough of that, like, then I'll like it.
I remember being a kid and just being so scared of those ridiculous Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street stuff, which is just, that's the campy, funny horror, right? But I remember being terrified. Nowadays, what scares me is Netflix documentaries. Like, real life shit is fucking what's scary. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I lied. I've got another question.
Okay.
What's your favorite food?
It's hard to answer because I'm on a really, really restrictive diet, and, like, it's a forever diet, so, like, I can never eat my favorite foods.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I mean, it's not a big deal. It's for my own good. But, like, the foods that I loved before, like, my number one favorite food ever of all time is chocolate chip cookies. I'm a big chocoholic, and, yeah.
Hard to not like
pizza.
the chocolate. Hard to not like the pizza.
True.
Yeah.
Green beans? Might I recommend green beans?
They're actually not allowed.
Oh,
not allowed.
Really? Do you mind my asking? Like, is it so? There's a dietary thing that just where you can't eat certain foods based on. I don't want to get too personal. You don't have to answer it if you don't want, but
it's all good. It's chosen, but, like, it's helping me with my health. Like, I haven't had a migraine since I've only been doing it for 2 months, but still, like, I used to suffer horrendously for, like, a week out of every month.
Wow.
With just the worst migraines imaginable. Like, I wanted to die.
And you've literally changed this with just diet.
Yes, wow. And it's been longer.
Yeah.
It's been longer in the works, like, than just the last 2 months. Like, I did most of the work by reversing my insulin resistance on the carnivore diet. That cut my migraines down by like 80%, and it seems like this diet has eliminated the remainder.
Okay, so what is the diet basically? Like when you said carnivore diet, is that what the Atkins diet is? It's like a lot of meat and proteins and no carbs or something?
It's similar. It's low carb, but for the carnivore diet, you're only allowed animal products, nothing else.
Oh, wow. So
no vegetables.
We could have been really assumptive, if that's a word, Vic, and been like, oh, you must be vegan because you live in San Francisco. That's how Texans are.
Right. Everyone thinks I'm vegan when I say dietary restrictions.
Right.
It's so funny because it's
you're
like
the complete opposite. It's kind of badass. You're like, I fucking eat meat.
Yeah.
Only.
Only meat, yeah. Oh, you did great in Texas. Right. Barbecue. Yeah.
Every guy in Texas would be like, this girl's the coolest ever.
That's right.
She likes bands I ain't never heard of, but she likes meat.
It's crazy how diet affects you. I would get migraines maybe like once a month, and then I just tweaked what I ate. I had a bout of insomnia a few years back, and I just could not, no matter how tired I was, how much I worked out, I could not sleep for more than 1 or 2 hours a night.
Whoa.
Damn.
Tweaked the diet. And even recently, I've been working with my cousin. She's a nutritionist, and so just more of this Mediterranean type of eating. I haven't been following it the last few weeks because of moving and stuff, but but when I'm on point and do the diet, sleep is easy. I sleep so good at night, the headaches are gone. Yeah.
What are the absolute
drop weight
do nots? Which is probably all of what I fucking eat, but what are the things that are just this is the worst shit?
Sugar.
I know it's obvious.
Sugar. Yeah.
Sugar. Yeah. That was the very first thing I cut out when I first started getting into nutrition at age 17. And I've just gotten more and more hardcore over the years. But it makes a huge, huge difference in so many ways. It's just so inflammatory.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. I was listening to somebody talk about the carnivore diet, and going meat diet, animal product diet, they eliminated all the inflammation in their body, right? Arthritis, premature arthritis, all sorts of stuff is just gone. And I think over time you can start adding foods back to see how your body reacts to it. So even vegetables, right? So you cut that stuff out and you just kind of eliminate. Yeah. And it's just kind of trial to see how your body reacts to certain things. Yeah. It's really, really cool stuff.
It's interesting too when people do cut that out. That was the big thing for me back 5 years ago, and I really made a decision, and I quit drinking soft drinks. I quit drinking beer, so I had very minimal sugar intake, right? And I was eating. I still ate carbs. I love carbs. I love it, but pretty chicken and fish and rice and vegetables and got sugar the natural way through fruits and stuff. And it was amazing. I was working out and running too, but I dropped so much weight and had so much more energy. And anyone you ever talk to, your body's addicted to it, right? It's like cigarettes or something. So I think it's just maddening to stop it at first. But then when you do that, I've talked to people that when you come back to, now I'm in a terrible physical shape and I'm, drinking soft drink. No, but I remember when I got on a plane when I was in that whole thing, and I hadn't had soft drinks in forever. And I had a Coke on the plane, and it just made me sick. I got super bloated and just felt because my body was just what is this, And I know several people have said that when they don't eat sugar, then all of a sudden you start tasting it in everything. And you're like, wow, it feels weird. You can almost feel the artificialness of all these foods, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
It's crazy how
good for you.
How you can just tell what's naturally sweet, right? Fruits, things like that. Just cutting that stuff out. It's nuts.
For sure.
Well, this is inspiring. I won't heed to it, but I'm still gonna go eat like shit tomorrow. But I'll be landing in San Francisco eating In-N-Out burger. I really should cut out that sugar. I remember Xero was saying, I'll just take the meat out of the burger and eat that. That'll be cool. If it's
they do protein style. That's without a bun.
Oh, so that's the. Oh, see, there's all the super secret animal double animal. What's so protein
Whataburger
style?
does that too.
Whataburger says, "Oh, the protein thing, right? Is that what you're talking about?"
Yeah. If you get on the Whataburger app, you can order it that way too. But yeah, In-N-Out does that.
Yeah,
protein style.
Yeah, it's actually not a bad idea. Just cut out the. I'm not a huge.
It makes a difference.
And honestly, like I've never been like a gigantic like bread eater, and I think that's like kind of served me well. Like I don't eat a ton of like whatever's in bread. Wheat.
Yeah, because bread is really on the same level as sugar because that's what it turns into in the body.
Right. Yeah. So, although I have been making biscuits lately. So I'm a big liar.
Bread, sir. Those are biscuits.
Yeah, that's not bread. Those are biscuits. Like literally, there's someone out there who's just like, probably one of our politicians who's like, biscuits and bread aren't the same thing. We don't need to wear masks. Well, Xero. Once again, none more negative on YouTube, on Facebook. Xero Silver you can find online, but not on Instagram. God damn it. Just on
Vampire Mermaid from Outer Space.
Vampire Mermaids from Outer Space. You can also find her on the Maroon 5 fan page. Yeah, well, this has been a lot of fun. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
Cool deal. Okay, well, hang out for a sec while I make sure everything uploads. And once again, this is Victor Ramos, Skunk Manhattan, signing off. Until next time, be good.
This Halloween, so unlike any other. Her final words, don't be afraid of the green light. Of the green light. Drunk on her brain, where I must wait until she wakes. The soil splits, greenwood brown will quake beneath me, and so shall take into the earth to the green light. Autumn air, it fills my lungs so sweetly. Reminds me of the smoky bread, with wine and this bouquet of maple and oak leaves. In death or life, will always be. I find myself drawn to a shadow domain. I find myself drawn to a shadow domain. I find myself drawn to a shadow domain. This moonlit night, late October, swirling fog gloom, and as promised, my love did rise from the green light. From the green light. I find myself drawn to a shadow domain.